Everyone, it's Kelly from Tutoring Tips for Teachers, and I'm so excited because I have a very special guest here. It is Lexi Limbert Soderberg, and
Good job, you
Lexi,
got it right.
okay, good, good. And Lexi is the founder of the Facebook group and sort of like a movement, it sounds like, of Barefoot and Burntout, which helps teachers, tutors, and parents take back their time and energy with simple and effective online learning tips, incorporating current research and the science of reading. So that's
Lot.
really exciting. Making the science of reading more accessible and easy for the people who are actually teaching reading,
Yeah.
which is much needed. Thank you for that. That's a very good service. And Lexi has a book coming out, which is really exciting. Can you tell us a little bit about your book, Lexi?
Yeah, so I've been working on an ebook that I'm going to put out for parents, teachers, tutors to kind of break down the steps of learning how to read. So I was taught how to read using the whole word reading approach, which is here's a list of 20 words, memorize them, your test is Friday. That worked for me for the most part, but mainly I kind of taught myself like my brain little tips and tricks on how to get around it. Now that I've had my OG training, I'm like, I think that was some phonics that I was doing. But the OG training or the Orton-Gillingham training is usually super expensive and not affordable for individual teachers who are looking to start their own tutoring business or just want to use more principles of the Orton-Gillingham approach in their classroom. And so I wanted to make something that was affordable and also kind of combined how to make it a business too, so you can make your own money with it because like teachers are paid nothing. Like it's not a livable wage. I had a engineer husband that I relied on until my divorce, and then I was like, oh, I've got to make some more money now. So my luckily my tutoring business really took off, and I've been in business for 3 years. My first year I made about what I made on my teaching salary, and then the second 2 years I've made way more.
Congratulations. That's really good.
Thank you.
I think this is really you're absolutely right about OG training, Orton Gillingham. I shouldn't keep saying OG so people know what we're talking about. Orton Gillingham training, which is phonics based and designed to help students with dyslexia, but of course it's good for everybody. Is really hard to access because it is really expensive. You're right, and it is very, very time consuming. I've looked into it myself. I'd say I'm not a certified Orton Gillingham practitioner, but I have taken some training here and there, and yeah, it has been like super expensive. So the fact that you're making it more accessible and affordable for people is really, really good. That's a really wonderful thing that you're doing. So thank you.
Thank you.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Well, and I try to
And
break it down into like five basic steps because the school that I taught at did OG in 3 stages. And every place that teaches OG or uses the Orton Gillingham approach, they break it down kind of differently on their own scope and sequence. And so the way that I broke it up into five instead of three, and that's kind of how I explain it with parents too. Like when I'm tutoring their kids, I'm like, all right, first we're working on short vowels and consonants. And like that's it. That's the whole point that we work on for the first until they are fully comfortable and mastered with that. And they're like, really? Like, what about two-syllable words? I'm like, hold on, we'll get there. And like, I kind of explain in the book how I go through those 5 steps with my students and how it's so incredibly effective. My youngest stepdaughter moved here when she was finishing up 3rd grade, and she couldn't read. Like she was trying, but guessing on 50% of her words. Um, I think that in schools before, she was kind of just put in a resource room. I was like, oh, she'll figure it out later, or we'll figure out something with her because she's really sweet and lovely to be around. But she was guessing on half of her words. She had no idea what she was reading. And when she first read with me, she was like mixed up all of her vowel sounds. I was like, "Do you know what that A says?" She's like, "Yeah, A says ah." I was like, "Then why did you say tub instead of tab?" And she's like, "Because I think it's what it says." It's like, okay, you know that they follow rules, right? And so now she is in 5th grade and she's reading at a 5th grade level. She's so
wow.
proud of herself. Oh my gosh, yeah, she put in the work.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's a really good example of how powerful the science of reading is when it is implemented in an effective manner. I don't it gets like a lot of a backlash and but there's a way to implement it that is really effective and that's a really good example of that. And it's so good. I mean, good for your stepdaughter to be reading now. That's
Oh yeah.
really
And she reads for
wonderful.
fun. Like she brings books in the
Oh,
car now and like that's not something she would have done. We went to a music festival last August and she finished two books in that weekend that were
wow.
they're listening to music, she's reading. Like this is not something she would have done 2 years ago. Like it's so crazy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. And so I want to ask you, Lexi, what inspired you to tutor online?
COVID actually. So the pandemic came hard and fast and we shut down overnight. And I taught at a private independent school where parents were paying a significant amount of money to get that Orton-Gillingham instruction. And it was not going to be an option to just give them, a blizzard bag or some homework or something to do for the next few weeks. It was, all right, tomorrow we're going to be online at 9 a.m. Like it was overnight for real. And I put all of my energy into learning all of this. I got like certified in Google Classroom, Class Dojo, like all the different online things. I was ready. And then we did it online and figured it out. And then that next summer, they were like, all right, we're going back in person in the fall. We're like, wait, but aren't we still doing all that other stuff? They're like, yeah, that too. So in person and online at the same time. Like all of our
Oh,
classrooms had a TV in the back that was like huge that our kids could zoom in on, or we did Google Hangout instead of Zoom, or Google Meet. And so we had to have every single lesson in person and online every day for everything.
oh,
And Orton Gillingham is very hands-on. So we
yeah.
were like mailing packages of things to them and stuff like that. And I was getting really burnt out because then I'd go from doing that to then co-teaching math. And I'm also, up and moving the whole time, giving out money. Like we used class money as an incentive. And like there was the one day that I was just crying on the couch to my parents. And I was like, I just want to teach OG all day. I was like, I think that's what I'm going to do next year. Like, I think I'm just going to teach OG all day and work one on one with students because that's what I love the most. Like, I love seeing the kids learn how to read and then learn to love it. Like, the kids that I've worked with that choose to read now, it makes me so excited because that was my first grade teacher. Like, she opened up this whole world of reading to me that I was determined not to. Like, I think I was telling you before that in kindergarten, my mom and my grandma's an English teacher. Those are her Apple clock and her, it's like one of them says that's article and that's vowels and it's like a definition and they're super old from my grandma. And she was so excited for me to learn how to read that I was like, nah. Like I have ADHD now and I did not know that as a kid. But now I know that when I'm told to do something, that like hard shuts down for me. Like you tell me to do something, I'm not going to do it. Even if it was on my plan, learning how to read is pretty important. But 5-year-old Lexi was pretty determined, and I decided not to learn how to read by my grandma and my mom. But my first grade teacher like unlocked that whole world to me, and I love reading. Like this whole wall in front of me is books. I would turn it around, but it's very messy. But yeah, that whole
That's a
wall is books, and like that's been my dream since I was a kid. Is well, since I learned how to read and loved it, is to have a whole wall of books.
Oh, that's amazing. That's so amazing. And it is really fun, like phonics and that whole science of reading thing is really actually kind of fun. Like if it depending on how it's presented, but I can see how yeah, it can be super engaging for a lot of young kids. So I could see how
Use
your
a lot
first
of
grade
like
teacher,
scratch art, a lot of stickers, a lot of post-it notes. Like we're very rarely sitting. Like I do a lot of up and moving around, even online. Like I'm standing right now. I don't sit still very well. And so
yeah.
I connect well with those students too.
Oh, that's amazing. And it
Yeah.
does lend itself to a lot of movement too, and a lot of like hands-on fun stuff like Play-Doh and Poppets and all that stuff. So it's really I think a lot of people don't realize that. It can be fun. So
Well,
I'm
people
excited to
hear
hear how you're
online
making it fun.
tutoring and they're like, ugh, I hated COVID. Like even my stepdaughters were like, when we did online learning, all we did was cry and then we just didn't do it. It's like,
Yeah.
it's a lot better if you know how to do it. Like it doesn't have
Yeah,
to be just tears. Like it can be really fun. It can be your favorite colors. It can be, Google Jamboard is something that all my kids love, which they're getting rid of. And I'm so
I
sad.
know.
Ugh,
I know.
I'm
It
still
is
not
so
over that.
sad.
I'm working on introducing my students to Canva, and they are not as big of a fan.
Yeah, I haven't found anything that quite replaces Google Jamboard either. I loved it too. I know.
I'm
It
still
is
using
sad
it. I'm holding on to it till the very end.
for you. That's very good. That's very good. So, Lexi, where can people learn more from you? You have a lot to share about the science of reading and about, learning how to tutor and all of that. So, where can people
So
learn
many
more?
different like facets of what I do that it's kind of a lot. So like my personal Facebook page, Lexi Limbert Soderberg, wherever. But then I also have a Canva website that I think you'll link in the
Yeah.
description below, right? So that breaks it down into like 6 blocks. It's like, here's my Kickstart guide to tutoring. So if you are a teacher wanting to start your own tutoring business, or if you want to just learn more about OG, like click on that, and then you'll get on my email list and you'll get all the emails. There's a bunch of like automated ones that come, but then also the ones that I'll send as I'm working through things too, because my ebook is coming out soon. So if you are interested in the ebook, the 5 steps to decoding reading by a burnout teacher, that's me. That'll be on there too. It's not yet, but it will be. But if you download the Kickstart guide, you'll get on the email list, which then you'll get notified. Or there's also a free Facebook group called Barefoot and Burnout Community. Come join. Everyone's welcome. It's like 100 something people in there right now. Super nice, cozy. Like we just celebrate our successes together, kind of support each other. I post a lot of like funny memes, pictures of your pets. Just kind of a nice place to have some positivity on the internet as opposed to all the news, especially this election season. Like I live in Ohio. That's everything. I'm like, let's be all positive instead.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, I joined. I joined your Facebook group.
Oh, thank
Yeah,
you.
it's really nice. It's a wonderful space. And so, Lexi, you have an event coming up on March 27th,
Yes.
28th, and 29th. So, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so my first webinar was December 27th. And then when I was planning for this next one, and it's called Make What You're Worth and Beat Teacher Burnout. And it's about like my main mindset shift that really helped me make a lot more as an online tutor than I had as a teacher. Like the first year that I started my tutoring business, I made about the same that I would have made on my teaching salary, which worked out to $100 a day, by the way.
Oh,
Like when I did
geez.
the math, I was making 100 a day, and now I charge 90 an hour, and it's like, why? Why did I not do this earlier?
Yeah, that's brutal. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. That's what those private schools will do. But it's made up for in other ways ish, but it's crazy to me that teachers are still so undervalued and still so underappreciated that, so many have to take on extra things like coaching or tutoring after school, and then you're stuck in traffic and you just get more burnout. And I wasn't getting home till like 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. I was falling straight asleep, waking up exhausted every day, and now I don't work on
Wow,
Fridays. Like I get to sleep in. I slept in this morning till I think 8:30, 9 o'clock. Like,
that's amazing.
yeah.
Oh, good for you. And that's wonderful that you're sharing it with other people who want to learn more about how liberating it is to become a tutor and how to start their business. And
Well,
you
and that's
and you
the cool
mentioned that.
thing about, yeah, sorry. I forgot that that
Oh,
was even about the whole 3 day event. I get so sidetracked. This is the ADHD. But the 3 day event is not just tutors, it's tutors, wellness professionals, there's teachers, there's people that have started charities. Like it's just a bunch of different
oh,
people from all walks of life that are kind of coming together to share their best tips for preventing burnout or for recovering from it, because that's the whole process too. Like I don't know if you're in any of
yeah,
those like teacher Facebook groups that, after you've
yeah,
left teaching and they're all like,
yes,
oh my God, I can't move. I'm like, yeah, I was there. I remember that. I feel
yeah.
better now, but it took some time.
Yeah. Yes. Well, yeah, I know. I've been there myself. It's not easy, but this is wonderful that you are inspiring other people and helping them to heal and just sharing that. I love sharing the joy of tutoring myself too. So this
Mhm.
is like I'm all for it. It's so great because it really just makes you love teaching again.
It's
If
a
you are
whole
burnt out or
life
getting down
changer.
about it. Yeah, it totally is. So that's really wonderful. And I'll put the link to so we'll put the link to all this stuff in the description box. And this is all on your Canva website anyway, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so if you go to the Canva website, then everything is right there. And I'll make sure for sure I'll put that below so you can find everything right there. Oh,
Thank
that's
you.
amazing. Thank you so much, Lexi, for sharing all of this really cool stuff that you're doing and sharing your journey from being a burnt out teacher to a super happy tutor. You look super happy now.
Thanks. I am. I like I said, I slept until 8:30 this morning. I slowly got ready, had my coffee, took a shower, did some like emails and stuff, and now I'm doing my interview and then I start my tutoring after. And so I do a
Yeah.
lot of tutoring during the like midday and evening, but it's worth it to me to do that and then have my Fridays to spend with my kids and my family and my dog and stuff like that. So
Oh, yeah, for sure. Well, this is great. This is great. Thanks so much for sharing all of this with us today, Lexi. It was really
thank you
fun
so
to
much
talk
for
to
having
you.
me.
And best of luck with everything.
Thanks.
Thanks, everyone.